Two transfer rumours to get through this evening, and it's actually both in relation to players potentially being sold by West Ham United this summer, actually. So first of all, we've got that PSG want Lucas Paqueta. Linked to Newcastle United last week, we know he's changed agent ahead of the summer transfer window, and today apparently PSG are monitoring his situation at West Ham and they are considering making a bid for our Brazilian midfielder. And the second one is Thilo Kehrer. Apparently he's open to leaving West Ham. Now, perhaps more interestingly, he's not linked to a specific club. It's not that a club wants him. It's that Kehrer perhaps is open to leaving West Ham United. Now the second one, the Kehrer rumours actually got a little bit more to it, and I think it's more believable for a couple of reasons. I'll explain in a second. Before I do, let me read you the piece from the article. It's from The Guardian, it's written by Steinberg, and it's a bit of a Premier League roundup actually. Maybe I'm being a bit naive, but I often think when the rumours are in a big article rather than a standalone one, it downplays the importance a little bit, downplays perhaps the reliability. But within the Premier League Roundup, there's a section on West Ham, and it says that, well, actually, we're being linked to a player. It says West Ham want to sign a new centre-back this summer and are interested in Sunderland's Dan Ballard. David Moyes has been tracking Ballard for a while and could decide to bid for the Northern Ireland international. It goes on to say there could be room for incomings in defence. West Ham expect to sell the versatile Ben Johnson this summer, and they have been made aware that Germany defender Thilo Kehrer could leave despite only joining from PSG last summer. Kehrer is capable of playing in the middle and in both fullback positions. He had an inconsistent first year in English football. So that's the rumour regarding Thilo Kehrer, and I'm starting with that one because I don't really believe the Paqueta thing, so I'm not that worried about Paqueta potentially leaving, but with Kehrer I am. Now, first of all, the reporter Jacob Steinberg is important here because, as we do whenever rumours come around, we do our best to analyse it and we'll give our opinion on, first of all, the rumour, and second, if we believe it or not. And when Jacob Steinberg, and there's a handful of others, but when Steinberg in particular reports on something West Ham related, you tend to be more inclined to believe it because he's a really good reporter when it comes to West Ham news. And I feel like I can't believe the things I like and not believe the things I don't like. Just to interrupt my own video to make sure that you subscribe to Hammers Chat. Approximately 1/3 of you watching this video right this second haven't yet subscribed, so please do that big red button under your screen that says subscribe. It's free, it takes you a couple of seconds. Join the Hammers Chat journey, come on, get involved. So West Ham are linked to, say, Harvey Barnes. Steinberg does an article saying West Ham want Harvey Barnes. I'm going to come on here and say, yes, let's go get Harvey Barnes. I believe this because Steinberg's the one reporting it. But because I don't like the fact that Thilo Kehrer might leave West Ham, I can't come on here and say, I don't believe it, and just disregard the fact that Steinberg is the one that's the author of this article. But the second reason that it's believable is because Thilo Kehrer said it. It went under the radar a little bit. About 3 weeks ago, I'm looking at the date by the way, it was around about the 7th and 8th of June, so 3 weeks ago Thilo Kehrer did a podcast with a Germany media news outlet, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting sometimes because we know Soufal does the same. When Soufal does his interviews with the Czech press, he's a lot more open, he's a lot more honest, and then you've got to do the translation part of it as well, which is difficult. So Thilo Kehler's done an interview with a German podcast, and within there he spoke about missing the Bundesliga. He said that he thinks about the Bundesliga a lot and that he would like to go back to the Bundesliga one day. Perhaps more importantly is that his family still remain in Germany. So he said all those things, but he did also say not yet. He basically said he's happy at West Ham, he's enjoying life in London, he's enjoying time at West Ham, but at some point in the future he would like to return to the Bundesliga. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just hope it's not now. I really, really do. Got a bit of a man crush on him after the trophy parade and he's singing away and stuff. But you know something? He's a damn good player. He's 26 years old as well. He's a really good squad player for us. And that's what he is at the minute. He didn't start in the final yet. He came on and played his part. He played his significant role in us avoiding relegation and getting to Prague in the first place. He's pivotal. I think I see Thilo Kehrer as a key player of this squad now. When he came in, I thought he started excellent at centre-back, got moved to right-back. I think he really struggled. He got exposed massively. And then he got back into the team at centre-back. I thought we had some big performances again. Went to right-back to cover for Soufal when he was injured, and I thought he played well. And I think he's a key player of our squad. And you can, when he first arrived, David Moyes spoke about the influence in the changing room already, about how he's such a big character in there. And you would expect somebody that's played numerous times for Germany, played for PSG as well, to hopefully have that little bit of confidence about him. And it certainly seems like he does, and it's paying off in the changing room. But he's going to be key next season, because at the minute we've got 4 centre-backs. Ogbonna, can we rely on him? We don't know yet. And I'm talking here as in ability, as well as remaining free from injury. We don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. Ogbonna, you've just got to take short term, bit by bit. Zuma, we know we can rely on ability-wise, but I'll tell you what else we can rely on. Kurt Zuma missing numerous games next season. He will miss numerous games. I don't know, 28 Premier League games he might play, which is still a lot. 3/4 of the season he will be fit for. But there's still a lot of games he's going to miss. And then you've got Nath Aguerd. We've got the African Nations next season. And this is something I think hasn't really been spoken about much, actually, because we know when the African Nations comes around, we're going to be missing Aguerd for a month, possibly more than that. So Kehrer is going to be huge next season. I still think we need another centre-back in addition to those 4, for the reasons I've just stated. I don't want to sell Thilo Kehrer under any circumstances this summer. I'll be really disappointed if we did. I always say every player's got a price. That is still applicable. Well, do you know something? We paid 10 million for Thilo Kehrer. What would I be happy with receiving for Thilo Kehrer this summer? 30 million? Is he worth 30 million? No, he's not. But that's the point. I don't want to sell him. Do not sell him. What could we realistically get? 20 million? I would not take that. We need stability. We're already losing a big player and a big character in Declan Rice. So let's keep the impact of losing Declan as minimal as possible. And I think having Thilo Kehrer remain at the club is vital, actually. I really, really do. I think it's hugely important that we keep him. And I expect him to have a good season next season. So Thilo Kehrer, keep him at West Ham, please. But like I said, there is something in that article. Kehrer himself has spoken about going back to the Bundesliga. The one good thing, I don't fear the German clubs coming for him and forcing West Ham's hand a little bit, which is something PSG can do with Paqueta. But I think if a Bundesliga club approached us for Thilo Kehrer and offered us 50 million, we rejected it, they're not going to start bidding stupid money. They're not going to start bidding 30 million where it gets a little bit, West Ham just have to accept it. That's not going to happen. So I expect him here next season, Kehrer. In regards to Lucas Paqueta, do you know something? I expect him here next season as well. It's the same thing. When he got linked to Newcastle, I dismissed it. But part of the reason I dismissed it was because of Newcastle. I don't believe that Newcastle would spend that much money on Paqueta, and it felt a little bit like agent talk. And do you know something? I think this is agent talk as well. I would not be surprised if Paqueta's trying to get a new contract at West Ham. I wouldn't be surprised if he's come in and he's decided that he's now one of the best players. Rice is leaving. West Ham are going to have an influx of cash. Naturally, you're thinking we're going to spend that money, but perhaps Paqueta's thinking I wouldn't mind a couple of million for myself. I'll sign a new deal, get a big wage increase. But let me just read you a little bit of the article in regards to Paqueta. It started with 90-minute football, that PSG are interested in him, but it does say that 90 minutes had learned that Paqueta wasn't enthused by West Ham's performances in the Premier League last season, which seen us lose 20 of our 38 games and we finished 14th. Says there's concerns within Paqueta's camp. Now this is, I'll get onto that. There's concerns within Paqueta's camp over whether David Moyes' style suits his game and plays to his strengths. The Scot often asks his defensive line to sit deep, absorb pressure, for looking to hit the opposition on the counter-attack. Then it goes on to speak about how Paqueta has changed his agent, but doesn't necessarily point to desire to leave. But the interesting thing is 90 minutes to just confirm where their supposed source is, and that is within Paqueta's camp. And this is why I think it's probably more of an angle to try and get a new contract. This new agent has come along. Paqueta's now gone with his new agent. They're going to want to make money. They haven't made money out of Paqueta thus far. Paqueta got his move with Agency Brazil, or whatever it was called, Brazilian Soccer, whatever that agency was called that he was with before. He's no longer with them, so he's got a new agency. They're probably looking to cash in. They're probably looking at Paqueta's performances thinking, we can get a new deal here. How much are you on? We can get you better than that at West Ham. They're a Premier League club. They've got loads of money. Danny Ings on 25 grand a week. We'll get you a new contract. I think this is a play from Paqueta's new agents to get a new deal. Maybe I'm being naive. Would PSG want him? Absolutely. Why wouldn't they want him? His class, his ability is incredible. But doesn't mean they do. It does. How much would we have to sell Paqueta for? 70, 80 million. We'd make a little bit of money on him, a decent profit. But I just don't see it happening at all. Like I said in the previous videos, maybe I'm being naive. But while I'll criticise David Sullivan for a lot of things, I don't think he's stupid enough to sell Declan Rice and one of Lucas Paqueta, Thilo Kehrer, Jared Bowen in the same transfer. He just won't do it. He won't do it. I think the likelihood is that Paqueta will probably get a new contract because we need to keep him here. We absolutely have to. In the article it said about how we performed poorly. We did. But in the second half of the season, we played okay. Maybe not performances watching it. The performances perhaps weren't good. In terms of results, the second half of the season wasn't that bad. And Paqueta was a big part of that. But what I will say, in this, I might be in a minority here. I mentioned in a couple of other videos, and nobody said I'm wrong, but also nobody's really agreed with me because it's not the main point. So I'm going to make this the main point here. I wouldn't say Moyes has built the midfield around Lucas Paqueta. That's not happened yet. But I do think Thomas Souček was sacrificed to get the best out of Paqueta in the second half of the season, as well as Declan Rice. I do think Souček was just a case of you're in there to get the best out of the other two. I don't have a problem with that, by the way. I think that's a wise thing to do when your players are as good as Rice and Paqueta. Absolutely do that. But certainly, while Paqueta was good in the second half of the season and his influence in the team grew and grew with every single game, there was also plenty of times during those games where I felt he was a bit lazy, where he wasn't tracking back, he wasn't running back to help out defensively, where he was going down a little bit easy and rolling around and whatever. So while I enjoyed his performances, he's a great player and I'm looking forward to seeing him next season. If I was to list the top 10 things I'm looking forward to West Ham next season, Lucas Paqueta on his own would be on that list. And there's not many players I would put on the list because while I think Soufal might have a really good season, am I looking forward to his performances in particular? Not really. I just expect there'll be a decent right-back performances. But Paqueta's performances are entertaining. They are game-changing. I look forward to Paqueta getting the ball so I can see what he can do. But he wasn't Mr. Perfect or anything like that. And I think David Moyes, what I'm trying to say badly, I think David Moyes accommodated that. And I think he was allowed to do that. While Paqueta, like I said, Paqueta wasn't always tracking back. I think that was the game plan. I think it was, let's keep Paqueta a little bit further up the pitch so that when we do counter-attack, because he's not the quickest bloke in the world, is he? So if he's 10 yards ahead of the other team's midfield, then he's got that bit of space to play into already. And I think it works. I think it suits Paqueta. But what I'm trying to say is, while Paqueta might be a little bit disappointed how West Ham played, I do think there's an element of me that thinks, well, hang on a minute, the manager gave you a bit of a cushy gig for the second half of the season, actually. You were able to do what you wanted to some extent. And not every player is afforded that. In fact, I would suggest the only other player I've seen afforded that at West Ham, two of them, under David Moyes, one being Declan Rice, and the other one being Jesse Lingard, where I feel like we amended how we played to fit Jesse Lingard, and it worked. But I do feel like we've done that with Lucas Paqueta. I don't necessarily feel we did it with Gianluca Scamacca, for example. I don't feel the tactics changed enough to get the best out of Scamacca. We didn't really do it. But I do think that we've done it with Paqueta post-World Cup. Definitely not the first half of the season. Absolutely not. We took a square peg, Lucas Paqueta, and tried to squeeze it into a round hole. It did not work. But I do think the second one, we altered it a little bit. So anyway, there's your two transfer rumours. All I'm going to say is do not worry. Don't worry. I know there's a lot of our players being linked with moves away at the minute. Naturally, it's going to happen. It's transfer window time. But it doesn't mean they're all moving away. We will sell Declan Rice. I think we might sell one other player for cash. I think we might sell one other player, two at the very most. But I would expect those players to be Vlasic, maybe Ben Johnson. I don't see Kehrer going. I don't see Paqueta going. I could be wrong. I hope not. But what I will say is, while there's a lot of rumours of players going away, there's a hell of a lot more rumours of linking players to West Ham. And I don't think you can disregard all the potential incomings, which you should do, by the way, because most of them are rubbish. Disregard them. But you can't disregard all the potential incomings, but believe all the potential outgoings. I don't think you can do both. It's up to you. You do what you want. You believe what you want. But I can't do it. I can't believe transfer. I believe hardly any of them, to be honest with you. You know, Dan Ballard, maybe, I don't know, possibly, but I'm not that strong feeled about it, to be honest with you. I've not really got that strong opinion. We'll wait and see. Tim Steidten apparently starts on the 1st of July, by the way. I'll just stick that in at the end here. I think Gonzo spoke to someone earlier. I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He put something on Patreon. He's been given assurances, Gonzo said. Gonzo's words. He wasn't going to put this on YouTube, I am. Gonzo's been given assurances that Tim Steidten is actually joining West Ham, but it's been reported in Germany now with Kicker that on the 1st of July, that's Steiden's official start date. So hopefully, in the next few days, we'll get official confirmation that that is his start date. But the rumours are that Tim Steidten will become technical director at West Ham and begin work with West Ham on the 1st of July, which is only a handful of days away. So fingers crossed it's true, and fingers crossed that it's a success. But hopefully his first job isn't to fend off bids from the Bundesliga for Thilo Kehrer or to get rid of bids from PSG for Lucas Paqueta. But my prediction, they're both here next season, and also my third prediction, Lucas Paqueta gets a new contract. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it, subscribe to the damage chat. Catch you tomorrow.